What is up, guys? This is Zypha here. Welcome back to my channel. So first of all, apologies that it's been a while since I've uploaded. I know I said that last video as well. It's been nearly 4 weeks since I've made a video, which is like technically a month. So I'm really sorry about that. Once again, I don't really have a reason for it. It's just mainly been, I guess, laziness or just lack of energy to make videos, I guess. I don't know. I've just been falling short on making uploads, so apologies for that. I also do need some more ideas for content. So if you guys have any ideas on stuff for Dead by Daylight, it would really help a brother out. But yeah, in today's video, we're going to be ranking all of the Dead by Daylight killers' moris or finishers. But yeah, we're going to be going through all of them from Trapper to Wesker. I'm really excited to be doing this because I just love moris. There's a lot of good ones and there's also a lot of shitters in there as well. So it'll be interesting to see where I rank them. I will not be including mini moris such as Pyramid Head's Final Judgment or the Onryō's Inexorable Stare, as those aren't actually moris from a mori offering. So those will not be included. I do not have any criteria really for this video. The only thing I'll really be going off of is whether I like them or if I think they're creative or interesting, you know, if I think they're cool, basically. Something else I thought I should add is that I will be taking all of the moris from a survivor perspective, and the reason for this is that some of the killers earlier on in the game, I think at least the first few and then maybe a few after that, had a killer and survivor perspective, and the killer's perspective for many of them was first person and it just didn't look as good, typically, at least in my opinion. So I thought it would only be fair if I took them all from a survivor perspective, so there's no like bias or anything based on the perspective or anything like that. So yeah, same disclaimer goes as always for these types of videos. None of these rankings do I claim to be, you know, factual or anything like that. This video is completely subjective and you guys are more than welcome to let me know down in the comments where you agree and where you disagree. I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on any of the rankings in this video and what your thoughts are on certain things. But yeah, just try to keep it respectful, guys, because on my last tier list video, even though I made a disclaimer just like this, I had a lot of people who were just being rude and attacking me regardless for where I place certain people in the tier list. You've just got to remember that everyone has different opinions and it really isn't that deep, guys. It's just a tier list video on YouTube, and you know, at the end of the day, there is no right or wrong place to rank things, you know, so just keep that in mind. I know some of these disclaimers just go over people's heads anyway because some people are just very ignorant like that and they don't seem to give a shit, but just try to keep it respectful once again, guys. And yeah, we're gonna get into the ranking without further ado. Okay, so here we have the tiers. Obviously we've got the standard S down to D tier. Once again, like with my last tier list video, I haven't given them any unique names or anything like that because I honestly couldn't think of anything interesting. I was gonna put D tier as needs improvement or needs reworking, but I just decided to keep it the simple S to D tier because I just thought that would be better. So yeah, we're gonna get into it without further ado. So starting off, we have Trapper. Okay, so with Trappers, I'm gonna have to give it D tier. I know, this is not a great start, but I'll be honest with you. I know the game was just like in its early stages and they obviously weren't, you know, it's a pretty new concept, I'm guessing, to add moris to the game. So they did start off pretty simple and it obviously makes sense. I will add though that I think Trappers looks much better, and same with Wraith and some of the other ones I'm gonna get to. They look much better in third person than first person. That's not gonna sway my opinion though. I still think it's D tier because all he kind of does is just sticks his foot on the back and just slashes away at them. It's pretty basic. I mean, yeah, I guess it does the job. He kills them, but like, it's just not very interesting. I know this is a very weird concept to rank how killers murder survivors. It's a very weird concept, but just go with it, guys. I'm not like fucking deranged or anything, but I would have liked to see, you know, his bear traps implemented somewhere in the kill. That would have been more interesting in my opinion. Next, we have Wraith. Okay, so same with Wraith. The only thing I like about this one, which kind of makes me want to bump it up a tier, is he drags the survivor backwards, which I like that element. I think that adds a bit of interest to it. I feel like that's the only thing that really redeems his mori. Like, other than that, it's just as bad as Trappers, really. It's just, he kind of just hacks at them a bunch and then that's all there is. So I do want to give it C tier just for the fact that there's a bit more animation to it, but I'm going to give it a D tier once again. What I'm going to do though this time, which I never did with my last tier list video, is I'm going to arrange them. Like, so if I put Wraith here in front of Trapper, it means that I think he's closer to C tier, and whoever's further down the list is further away from moving up a tier. So that's basically how I'm going to rank them. Trapper is obviously worse than Wraith, so I'm going to put him behind him. Next up, we have Hillbilly. Okay, so once again, Hillbillies is pretty lame. I don't really think it variates much from the other ones. I do think it's a bit more interesting than Trappers. Would it be better than Wraiths? Probably not. I think I'd probably put it between these two. It's just kind of the same with Trappers. He just kind of walks into frame. You can't even see him. I mean, either way, even first or third person, it just looks kind of basic. Next up, we have Nurse. Okay, so for Nurse, I actually quite like hers. Her third person and first person are pretty good. I'm not really one who likes the first person perspective that much, but I have to say for Nurses, her first person is good as it is, but even the third person I think is much better. I actually like hers. I think it's B tier, you know. She just kind of caresses the survivor's face afterwards. I think from what I've heard, I think in her lore, I think she like almost thinks that she's helping the survivors by taking them away from the world, by killing them. I think she thinks she's helping them, and I think that element is rather creepy, and I think it definitely adds to the mori, the fact that she just sort of strokes their face after she's killed them. I really like that element, so I just think in general it's much better than the other three, so I'm going to give it a B tier. So yeah, next up we have Myers, or The Shape. Okay, so fun fact, for Myers, I actually had to get a recording of his tombstone finisher because his actual mori, I don't know if this is because custom game has a problem or if it's the actual mori that needs fixing, but for some reason, the mori just wouldn't work. It kept panning out onto like a random area outside of the mori and I couldn't see anything inside of the finisher, so I had to use the tombstone Myers thing, which the only difference between tombstoning someone and moriing someone as Myers is that with a mori, they're on the floor before you pick them up and start killing them, and then with the tombstone they're stood up before you do the finisher. So there is no difference really in that regard, but obviously this looks way better I think in the third person perspective. It adds a lot more character. I think in first person it's not terrible, but it isn't the best. I want to put him up in A tier, but I don't think, like, I do think the finisher is really fitting for his character. I like how he throws them on the floor. I've always found that quite funny for some reason. Kind of just dumps them like they're trash, just fucking tosses them aside. But I do think it's cool that they added the whole element of the survivor kind of struggling, like smacking him, trying to get off. I think that the fact that they added that is much more realistic than some of the other ones where they just kind of sit there and let it happen to them. So I feel like for that reason, I kind of want to put it in A, and because it's accurate, but I'm going to put it B tier. I don't know if I'll put it in front of Nurse, because I don't really know if I'd class it as better than Nurses, to be honest. I just don't think it's that interesting compared to some of the other ones we'll be seeing later on in this video. Maybe I'll move it up a bit later on. We'll have to see if my opinion changes kind of, but for now, I'm going to put him in second place in B tier. Next up, we have the Hag. You know what? I actually really like the Hags. I think I'll give her an A tier, you know? I actually really like hers. And I think for one of the earlier killers, hers is one of the better ones. Like, she just goes in there all ham. It's almost like Demo's finisher, which I will obviously get to at some point in the video, but it's like Demo's, but she like rips chunks out of his body, and it's so graphic. And you even get to see like the organs and shit hanging out of his stomach. I just think for that reason, the fact that it's so vicious, it's so violent, it's gory, it's really cool. I don't know if it really fits her character. I don't really read into any of the laws. Maybe I should. So yeah, that's our first A tier. Next up, we have the Doctor. So for Doctors, I actually, once again, I really like his. I think I'll give him a B. I feel like Doctors is good. It's fine. I do like his quite a bit. Next up, we have Huntress. Yeah, so for Huntress, I was tempted to give her a C tier, but I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of people attacking me, and I don't want this whole tier list to be like, oh, I don't want to put it in somewhere because someone will, you know, get mad at me for it, because that just seems fake and like I'm just actually avoiding my actual opinions on it. But I want to give it a C tier, but I do think it's quite brutal, so I will give it like a bottom B tier. Like, it's close to C for me, because I feel like it's like with the other ones, it's just kind of, she just hacks at them, which obviously suits her character. I don't really know what else they could have done, so I think for what it is, it's not the best, but I don't really want to give it a C tier because I know it's all right and it does suit her character and it's quite brutal. So for now, I'm going to give it, you know, bottom of B tier because, you know, it's not that bad, I suppose. But yeah, next up we have Bubba. So with Bubba's, I actually really like his. I do think it's quite lame in the first person perspective, but I mean, how can you hate on this? I mean, the fact that he just sort of goes in there and it's so just violent and he just sort of rips them open up from like their stomach to the shoulder. And then once they like sort of fall over on their face, he just starts wielding the chainsaw in the air like he does in the movies. I think it's just so cool and it looks iconic. I do think though it would have been a bit better if they've actually added more design, I feel like, to like the shoulder, so it'd actually show the body split open after he sawed them. I feel like that would have been much more accurate and realistic, but for what it is, it's all right, you know. I'd probably put it in front of Myers. I'm gonna give it a B tier. You know, actually, I kind of like it a bit more than Nurse's, to be fair. I think I'll put his at the top of B tier. I mean, it's iconic, obviously, and it's graphic, of course, so yeah, I like his quite a bit, so I'm gonna give him a B tier in front of Nurse. Fuck. Okay, there we go. Next up, we have Freddy. Okay, I'm not sure what happened with his head at the end of that mori. His head just jolted up for some weird reason. I don't know, I feel like for him, it's very tempting to put him in C tier because there isn't really a lot going on. I do like that the survivor kind of looks up confused and then the nails just kind of come through the back and then he just sort of pushes them aside and just sort of walks into frame. I think that's so cool. I think it's iconic. I feel like it's a B tier for sure. I feel like for me, I'm gonna put it in front of Huntress. I wouldn't call it better than Doctor's just because Doctor's has a bit more to it, and obviously you've got the whole turn the face over and the face is steaming and all that. I feel like Freddy's could have been much more interesting, but it's definitely, in my opinion, much better than Huntress's. I'm not saying Huntress is bad because I know some people might like Huntress's finisher, but I think it's better in the regard that it's kind of the nails coming through the back, and I don't know, it's obviously accurate to the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake. I think it's all right, so I'm gonna give it a B tier, though it, you know, it could be much better, obviously. Next up, we have Pig. Yeah, well, what the fuck was that? Yeah, it looks a little tinsy bit better in third person rather than first person, but overall, it's a pretty lackluster kill, I'm not gonna lie. The finish has just not got much to it. It's just so bland. I don't know, I'll put it in front of Hillbilly just because, I don't know. This is a very hard thing. I feel like Hillbilly's is more graphic in the fact that he uses a chainsaw, but then again, his isn't that interesting. I feel like there's a little bit more going on compared to Hillbilly's, but it's still gonna go, I think, here in D tier, because it's just not great, is it really? They really need to rework Pigs. All of them in D tier, they need reworking because they're just not good. Next, we have Clown. Now for Clown, there are actually 2 versions. Now, they don't differ that much, but if you guys didn't know, based on the gender of the survivor, if there's a male or a female, he cuts off a different finger. So I think he cuts off the male survivor's pinky finger, I'm pretty sure, and then it's the index finger for a female survivor. That's what I think it is. I might be wrong, it might be the other way around, but I'll show you both clips for Clown right now. So yeah, I really like his. It's so gnarly, like it just makes you think, ugh, God, no. The fact that he just sort of sucks on the fingers and then just adds it to his little collection on his pocket, I don't know. I really like his. I'm gonna give it probably top end of A. I feel like it's fitting for him, and I don't know why. I don't even really know that much about Clown, but I feel like it's fitting for him somehow. But I'm gonna give it top end of A tier, because, you know, I think it's very good. Next up, we have the Spirit. So yeah, with Spirits, it's kind of cool in the sense that she's sort of glitching out and all that, and obviously all of her limbs are sort of twitching. Hers is quite cool, I'm not even gonna lie. I think I'll put it in front of Hag's. I actually like hers quite a bit. I definitely think it's good for her character, and I think it's rather cool, not gonna lie. So yeah, we're gonna give her sort of middle ground of A tier for now. Next up, we have the Legion. Okay, so for Legion, I don't know if I'd give it an A or a B because I feel like it's not that cool, but I do like the fact that they added the realism of like the survivor struggling. I feel like that's really cool. They sort of like try to get away from him or her. Do I think it's A tier worthy? Not really. I feel like I'd probably give it a B tier, maybe in front of Freddy, because I think it's definitely better than Freddy's, but I think I like Doctor's a bit more, to be honest. It's kind of just around there for me in B tier. It's pretty good. But yeah, next up we have Plague. Okay, so I actually really like hers. I'm gonna go and give it an S tier. I know. So yeah, we have our first S tier of the video, guys. The reason I'm giving her S tier is because I really like the way she sort of wraps the, I don't even know what you call her weapon, someone will have to let me know in the comments, but she sort of wraps it around their neck, picks them up, and then just vomits in their face. It's so, I just really like it. I think it's gross, the whole vomit thing, but there's quite a lot going on, I feel like, and it's obviously very good for her character. I think it fits her greatly. So yeah, we've got our first S tier for the video. Next up, we have Ghostface. So for him, he kind of just stabs him in the back. I mean, I don't really know what else Ghostface would do, but he just kind of stabs him in the back a bunch. And then obviously the most iconic part is when he pulls out the camera and just takes a photo. That has always got me. It's just so goofy and likable. I just think he's got one of the most just funny Moris. I feel like I'm going to give it an A tier. I like it quite a bit. I'm going to put it in A after Hags because I like the whole camera element. I feel like without the whole camera element to it, it would have been quite boring and I would have given it like a C probably, or a B tier, maybe a bottom of B, but because of the whole camera thing, I just love it, so I'm going to give it an A tier. Next up, we have Demo. Now, I don't actually own Demo, so I'll have to slot a clip in from somebody else on YouTube. I will leave credit in the bottom left of the video. Hopefully, Demo comes back, if they ever bring back the Stranger Things chapter with, you know, a new one as well, so then hopefully I can get Demo, and that will fix the tier list problem, because with all these tier lists, I can't rank Demo with my own clips, because I don't have them, because I don't have it. So yeah, I actually really like Demos. I think the way that he kind of goes in and starts like gnawing at the face is so violent. I just like his and I think it's really good. I think it fits the whole Stranger Things vibe. I think they did really well with his. I keep saying his, but it's not a male. It's just an alien. It's the Demogorgon. I don't know. I like its Mori. So I'm gonna give Demo an S tier. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna put it in front of Plagues because I think I really like Plagues with the whole vomiting and everything, but I just like how lethal Demo is, and I love Stranger Things, so I mean, how can I not put it in front? You know, I think it's really cool, and maybe there's a bias for that reason, but yeah, I really like Demos. Next up, we have Oni. Okay, so with Onis, I don't know if I want to put it bottom of S tier or top of A tier, because I really like how violent it is. I like that he kind of just sticks the katana through him and then rips their tongue out and then clenches it in his hand. I don't know, it's so graphic. The whole tongue thing makes you go, ugh, like, honestly, like, the thought of having your tongue ripped out is not very nice at all. It just reminds me of Dead Silence, actually, if you've watched that film. Great horror movie, you should definitely check it out if you haven't. That's got a big thing about tongues being ripped out as well. I'm gonna put it, maybe not S tier, but I'll give it an A tier. I'll put it in front of Clown in A tier because I really do like Onis and I think it's very violent, very cool finisher indeed. Next up we have Deathslinger. You know what? I really like Deathslingers as well. You see how the latter half of the killer roster, they seem to be getting a lot better, I feel like. They've gotten so much better than the previous Moris, and I actually really like Deathslingers. Would I give it S tier? Probably not, but I do think it's definitely A tier worthy. The fact that the rod or whatever it is on the end of his gun, it comes like shooting out of the mouth, I think that's just really cool. I don't know why. I'd probably put it in front of Clowns. I do think that Deathslingers is just a little bit more interesting in my opinion, but I really like Deathslingers. I'm going to put it in second place in A tier. Next up, we have Pyramid Head. So yeah, with Pyramid Head, I don't know what else he could have really done. I mean, obviously he has a big blade. I'm expecting him to use that. But, you know, I think the way he definitely picks them up and they sort of get wrapped up in the barbed wire, I really like that about his. I do think the way he kind of just stuck his knife and turned it a bit and just they fell on the floor. That bit I've always found a little bit more boring, but I do like the first half at least where he picks them up and they get wrapped up in barbed wire. I've always thought that was really cool about his, and I'm still going to give it an A tier because I really like it. I think I'll put it here maybe. So yeah, A tier once again. Next up we have Blight. So yeah, for Blight, I really like his. I do think the way he just kind of just pops it, just smacks them with the stick at the end and it just finishes. It could have been a bit more interesting. He could have just let him on the floor to just sort of mutate. I feel like it's definitely A tier for sure. I'm gonna put it in front of Clown. I like Blight's quite a lot. I just think the way they kind of died at the end could have been a little bit better, but you know, it's cool. I really like it. But yeah, next up we have the twins. Now, obviously, the twins is made up of Victor and Charlotte. Now, I think Charlotte does have another Mori or another kill. She has one where she just kind of kills him on her own, but I think the one, which is her normal Mori, where she has Victor go in, she kind of gives him the nod and says, and he just starts sort of munching at their throat. I feel like that part is definitely much cooler than the way she just sort of hacks their ankle and their neck. I'm probably gonna put it in front of... I'm gonna put it maybe in front of Spirit. I feel like it's either in front of Spirit or behind Spirit. Yeah, I'm gonna put it... actually, you know what? I kind of want to put it in front of Pyramid Heads, you know? We'll just stick with it for now. I feel like at the end of the video, I'll probably do a lot of rearranging. I'll probably just go through and say, well, do I like this one more than this one? Do I like that one more than that one? And I'll kind of just work out which ones I like in a more, like, corrected order. But yeah, for now, hers is A tier. I really like hers. Next up, we have Trickster. That probably wasn't the best clip for starters because it was a little bit obstructed by the fencing on the side. I just thought it would be cool to do it in that middle channel at the top of that map. For his Mori, I really like it. I didn't realize this. Apparently the first blade that Trickster throws up is the one that finally comes down at the end and then pins the picture to their torso. Like, where did the blade go to? Did he just like keep it in the air, like levitating or something? I don't know. Does he have telekinesis? Who knows? For him though, I feel like I want to put it in S tier, but I feel like there's also something to it. I'm not expecting everything to be creepy in this game. I mean, it's a horror game, obviously. But I feel like Trickster's one of those killers that really broke the barrier for creepiness with me because I've always just sort of seen him as this kind of cringy, campy kind of K-pop killer. He just has more of a dislikable or a goofy kind of persona to him that makes him not creepy. And I don't know. I feel like I want to put him top end of A tier, but do I think he's better than Oni? Trickster's is definitely, I think it deserves to go in front. Maybe I'll put Oni in front. I don't know, but he's kind of just, obviously he's top end of A tier either way. Maybe I could even bump it up to S tier, but for now I think A tier is most deserving. Next up we have Nemesis. Okay, so I actually really like Nemesis as a character, so I hope there isn't a bias here. There probably will be. It's very cool. I like that he makes use of the tentacle and everything. Obviously, that would obviously make sense that he would do that. I do like the fact that it goes through their back, although it doesn't really look that realistic because there isn't any blood or any hole in their back. He's definitely an A tier once again. I feel like maybe a little bit more could have been done with it. God, I'm filling up this section. Jesus Christ, A tier's full today. I'm gonna put Nemesis, I think. I'm gonna put Nemesis just behind Pyramid Head because I do like Pyramid Heads quite a lot. Next up, we have Pinhead. Okay, so Pinhead's easily S tier. I might even say that I think it's just in front of the Plague because I really like the whole, like, the fact that there's a voice line in it. I think this is the first, actually no, it's not the first Mori to have a voice line. Sorry, I apologize. No, Plague is the first, I'm pretty sure. Obviously Trickster does as well. But yeah, I like that they implemented the voice line and then obviously the whole, all the hooks sort of coming out, pinning them up. I think the face looks goofy, but I think the way that all the hooks kind of go out and then they get sort of attached to that wooden board and then just taken into hell, I guess. I think the way that works, it just looks so cool. I'm gonna put it in front of demos because I really like demos, but I think I prefer Pinheads much more. Anyway, next up we have Artist. Okay, so for Artists, I really love hers. I think it's so cool. There's so much going on. There's so much character. And I feel like it really adds atmosphere with all the birds sort of flying around her. I think they just did so well with her. It really fits her character. Even though I don't like Artists as a killer and I never use her. Her Mori, though, is so fucking cool. I'm going to have to put it in front of Pinheads, honestly. Moving on, we're now going to go on to Sadako or the Onryō. So yeah, I also really like the Onryō's finisher. I think it's so graphic. The fact that the bones snap, it really reminds me of Vecna, actually. If you've watched Stranger Things, you'll get the reference, obviously. I really like hers. Once again, S tier. I feel like they're doing so well with the later Moris. And do not get me wrong about any of the ones in A tier. I really like those. I just don't think they're like the top of the game, if you know what I mean. So do I think it's better than Plagues? You know what, I kind of do. I like Plagues a lot, but I'm going to put her here because I really like the whole bone snapping element and the step. One thing I really like, which I think definitely adds to the Mori quite a lot, is the kind of scratchy violin, the music in the background, the sound effects. They just really, I think it really improves it and it makes it much creepier. So definite S tier. Next up, we have the Dredge. Okay, so for Dredge, I actually really like his as well, once again. I think the fact that all these different weapons and things kind of get spawned out of this dark gloam around the Dredge's body, they all kind of just come out and starts hacking at his back, and then he just gets pulled in. Like, that to me is so cool, so I feel like I want to give it, I'm going to give it bottom of S tier for now. And finally, the one you've all been waiting for, I'm sure, Wesker's Mori. So yeah, let's get into his Mori. Okay, so usually I don't think Wesker's Mori is that quick. I don't know why, but the last half when it panned out off of him and it just sort of showed them contorting and then it went back to him again. It usually pans out a lot slower than that, but for some reason it didn't in that clip. But I really love his. Once again, the voice line implementation. I think it's just so funny the way he just sort of smack his glasses off. He's like, let's finish this. The fact that all those little tentacles just start going through them and coming out of their mouth and stuff. And at the end, you can just sort of see him wrapping around through their eyes and everything. I feel like it makes you sort of feel clingy because, like, I definitely have got a bit cringed out sometimes when I'm playing and I just see the 𝒅𝒊𝒔𝒄𝒍𝒂𝒊𝒎𝒓, you know, when you've infected a survivor and you can just sort of see them sort of moving around in and out of their torso. It's just, it's parasitic and it's gross. It's just the fact that there's all these worms, kind of just these tentacle things, whatever you call them. I really like his. Once again, an S tier. I feel like they're doing so good with the last few chapters. The later it gets into the chapters, they just get better and better, I swear. with the exception to Pigs, obviously, which was worse than some of the previous ones, surprisingly. But I'm going to put Wesker there for now. Maybe I'll move him up a bit more. But I haven't actually put anyone in C tier, which is surprising. But yeah, I'm going to now go and sort of think about my rankings, and I'll come back to you guys, and yeah, we'll do some rearranging. Okay, guys, so I am actually recording this segment of the video about 10 days later, probably, from the rest of the video. So if my voice does sound a little bit different to the other recordings, then that's why. But yeah, it's been a while, so it's been a few days now. So I have actually decided on who I'm going to move around, if any, and any changes I'm going to make to the tier list. So we're just going to get into it without further ado. I'm not going to really, give too many reasons for any of the changes, because I'll just be here for ages if I do. Honestly, Pig, I'm going to put in front of Wraith, because I think Pig's is a bit different. It's still terrible, do not get me wrong. I think Wraith's is more just like a carbon copy of Trapper's, except he pulls the survivors back by the leg. That's like the only difference. I guess Pig's is a bit different. I don't know. Like, it's still extremely basic, but whatever. I don't know. We'll just leave it like that, I guess. It's just different to these ones, I suppose. Legion, I'm going to put in front of Doctor, just because I feel like Legion, as like a group, they are like the most realistic killers in the DBD universe. They feel like the most authentic, and honestly, watching their mori, not only does it feel more like there's more going on, it feels just, I don't know, there's something about it. I like it just a little bit more than Doctor's, because I feel like Doctor's is quite quick, and the survivors just kind of led there, doesn't do anything, but the survivors in Legions actually try to, struggle, fight back, and the killers feel amateur. They feel like real people, which is what they are. They're just regular people. I'm pretty sure they're college kids, just wearing masks and hoods with, knives. So I think it feels very authentic and realistic, does their mori. I feel like, at least to some degree anyway, and it's brutal the way they slice open the survivor's tummy like a fucking fish. It's like, sheesh. Hag has got to have one of the most, I know I keep saying the words brutal and violent all the time, but like, I suck with words, but hers is just one of the most graphic of all of them. I honestly don't love it more than Blight's, but I like it almost as much as Blight's. Clown's not too big of a fan of the beginning of him just stamping on the head. I think that's a bit lame. They could have done something else there, but I think that obviously the neck crunch is definitely gruesome, but I'll put him there next to Nemesis. Ghostface is honestly just iconic, and he's got one of the most goofiest finishes. How can you not like it? I mean, obviously the stabbing bit's a bit basic, but then again, he only has a knife, and it's Ghostface at the end of the day. What else can you expect? I guess it's accurate to him, so I'm going to put it up here in front of Pyramid Head. Twins I'll put down at the bottom of A, because honestly I don't like it as much as I did a few days ago. Looking back on it, I feel like Charlotte's bit in the mori was pretty lame, and I don't know, I feel like Victor's part was the best part, to be honest. It kind of carried the mori, if I'm honest. Other than that, I don't know, I feel like Trickster I like a little less than Oni, but then I also like Deathslinger a bit. I don't know, I want to put him there, I want to put him there, but I also want to put him in, I don't know, I think I'll put him in between. Onryō I'm going to put in front of Wesker, just because I like it a bit more. I find it a bit more creepy, and obviously there's the spooky background music and the bone snapping and all that. Ugh, I love hers. It's just a little bit better in my opinion than Wesker's. Demos would have been better if the head numbing was more accurate, because the survivor's head's still intact. Nothing's happened to them after he's like shook him around in his mouth. It doesn't make any sense. I know I keep saying him, even though it's an it. It's a creature, but you get what I mean. Pinhead, I'm going to put in front of Artist, even though Artist is so cool, and honestly, it's got so much atmosphere to it, and it's so well designed, and honestly, the way she plants that like bird inside of the survivor's mouth and then it comes out of their chest, honestly, that's so gruesome. But I feel like Pinhead's must have taken so much more programming to make, with all the chains and the pillar that comes out of the ground and then takes the survivor into hell. I don't know, there's just so much to his. Actually, I feel like it just deserves the first spot, like in S tier. But those are my changes to the tier list. Let me know where you agree and where you disagree below in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to smash the like button down below if you did. Subscribe if you're new around here, as it's completely free and it would really help me out. And don't forget to hit the bell icon right next to it so you never miss a single upload. Also, do not fret, Halloween content will be coming. I do plan on making a Let's Play series on Silent Hill 2, so if anyone's interested, be sure to stay notified for that so you don't miss any of those. They should be coming out in a few days, and I'll probably be releasing them on a, not daily, but maybe a every 2 day kind of basis. And I should hopefully try and get my hands on other horror games, maybe some newer ones, before Halloween 2. Fingers crossed. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I shall catch you all in my next video. Goodbye.